Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call us right now for more help at 866-945-8070.
Type stuff feels so flat.
All right, while you're all chit-chatting, I'm going to go live on Facebook.
All right.
So
We won't chit-chat anymore.
No, keep talking amongst yourselves. Chit-chat. Chit-chat, chit-chat.
Hey,
good.
Adam. You're on mute.
On a page.
Hey,
Enterprises Inc. Next.
Go. I did something silly today, and I changed my settings on here, and I told it to do multi-monitor, and now so I'm looking at Seth, and then like there's a big picture of you here on my third monitor. It's like, wow, what's he doing over there? Not like you, Adam. You're just on my main there.
Start licking the camera.
I know. It's like, what the heck is going on in the corner of my eye?
That's very funny. That's so funny. Oh, look. I see the live feed. Hold on.
We're live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook, but I'm still actually titling it and doing all that good stuff. Now I click go live. Go live.
Ha-cha-cha-cha.
Hey, Seth, you're gonna love what I just created for you right now.
All right, well, hold that thought, because right now I'm looking at my blank screen that's telling me it's setting up the live feed on Facebook. And I hate when it does this. And now it takes me just to my Facebook feed. So I have to actually browse to the live video. It's like so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's confusing too because you're talking and everybody hears us. Everyone knows we're actually doing this. That's the funniest part. You feel like you're not live, but you are. So everybody hears us now. Hi, everyone. Even though it seems like we're not live, we're live.
Hi, everyone. No, we're live officially. I'm just trying to browse to this stupid video feed so I can post it into the group. Because Facebook I don't know if honestly this is a Facebook thing or a Zoom thing, but I like to just pick on Facebook anyway.
Yeah, you're picking on Facebook. Honestly, I think it may be a Zoom thing because it happens all the time when I use Zoom. So let's not blame Facebook all the time.
No, you know what? Facebook just blows. It's funny because for a site that is as widely used as Facebook is, the navigation on Facebook is really not well thought out. It's actually horrible.
So, Seth, I just noticed on mine, so up at the very top it says live on Facebook. If I click on the drop down, there's actually two links. One to view the stream on Facebook, and the other one is to copy the streaming link.
Okay.
So would that make things easier for you?
No, I found the live feed right in my own Facebook page where I initially share it, and then I just share it to the group. So we're live. Good morning. Happy Friday. It's 8:06 Pacific time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And don't mind me dying over here. So Mariette, you started to say you'd done something. I was going to like it.
Yes, I'm going to like it, and I can't even handle, like, switching my phone. See, okay, I think I'm here. Hi, guys. Okay, yes, go ahead and find a notification of your name. It should have popped up. I wanted to surprise you, so go check your Facebook notifications. See, I was telling you to love Facebook because I did something for you on Facebook, so don't be hating on Facebook.
Oh. I don't see any notifications from you.
What the? Okay, let me go check. Hold on.
How long ago would it have been?
And I'm trying to do this all mobile, like a second ago, so hold on.
Yeah, I mean, the last notification I have is like 14 minutes ago. Gabriel Pina commented on that thread we have going about what people are listening to. Adam started that one.
What do you mean listening to? Like podcasts?
Yeah, no, people were listening like podcasts, and I posted a link to my epic Spotify playlist that no one else would understand.
I clicked on it.
I like quite a few on there.
Did you listen to it?
I listened to the first couple.
Yeah, it's a collection. What I did was I took, Spotify has this Discover Weekly thing that it does where it just suggests like songs based on your listening habits. And so it's like 30 new songs every week it puts in that playlist, and I siphon off the ones that I like to my permanent, and I call it Discover Weekly Keepers, the ones that but they're all like, I'm very selective. I only pick songs that, like, when I hear them, I get really pumped up, like, oh my God, I love this song, and then I do it. It has to be that.
I put that out there because I was listening to a lot of Five Finger Death Punch this week.
I saw that.
If you, it's kind of funny, the story of one of the members there. If you, there's a documentary on Netflix called Hired Gun Musicians, who are kind of like just hired guys by like other bands that they're not part of the band. but like the guitar player from the band basically started like playing with like Mandy Moore and like Hannah Montana stuff, and then he got a job with Alice Cooper and actually hooked up with these Five Finger guys, and basically he's been in this band basically helping to direct it since then.
Wow.
And he got on right when they peaked, right as they were about to peak. He got on. So
Interesting.
it's a cool story.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna just see what's going on here on the live Facebook feed. And that's the other thing with the new way they do it when you go into the video feed. It's hard to get to where you can actually see like the comments.
Do you look at my fancy flower behind my shoulder?
Your orchid?
Yeah.
Is it a wild orchid?
It's kind of drooping, isn't it?
I don't know.
Look at Dennis criticizing the flower.
Well, just kind of.
It
What
replaced
an
my.
orchid does.
It replaced my Star Wars figures.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna get into the. Did we lose Mariette, or is she still working on finding her?
No, you know what? It was I tried to do so many things this morning. I tried to make a video for you. I tried to get on Zoom. I just found out that I'm late to an appointment at my house. I'm driving back. You know, story of my life. There you go.
Well, fair enough. Well, if you find it, post it. Now I'm dying to see it.
Oh, no, I'm going to get it to you. Let me just try to get to my house, open the door, and then I'm going to show it to you. It'll happen before the end of the hour.
All right, well, take your time. Don't get into a car accident or anything.
I'm
That
good.
would be terrible. Good morning, Carmen, and good morning, Kevin, joining us live on Facebook. I'm finally able to get over to where the actual Facebook feed is. And so how's everybody's week been? Dennis, are you done with everybody's tax returns who filed extensions yet?
No, actually, the second wave is coming up with the deadline, so I'm still kind of swamped.
I know. Actually, I'm dreading next week because next week is usually the week that I get calls and emails from people who haven't done any books for 2017 and now want it all done in time to get a tax return filed in 2 weeks.
I just got a phone call from a guy I thought had gone away, and turns out he had stopped. He closed his business, but he still needs a final tax return, so I'm going to try to accommodate him.
Right.
Actually, it's 3 tax returns.
Right. And they want it all done in time to file a return in 2 weeks, and then they want to know why it costs so much.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a client that I've been doing the tax return since July 20th. And I've been calling him like twice a week trying to get him to get me all this stuff that I need. And he also called when he talked to me that time. He also said, "Well, I want my bookkeeping date pushed to the 15th." And I'm like, "Well, you need to push your statements then. Because the credit card statement gets released on the 18th, so you're not going to be missing half the information you're expensing."
That's funny.
I said, "You can just call them up and say, hey."
You can call them up and have them change the statement
I
period.
said 99% of the time they'll do that unless they have like a good reason to do it. Or not. And then, so that was where we left off. And I said, all these tax things need to be resolved too. I need like dependent information and all this other stuff they didn't get me. And I've been just chasing them. And finally Tuesday, I'm just like, you know what? You can just email me when you're ready. I'll probably get an email the 1st of October.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about, we can make a video about this, right? We can make a video about why it's important for clients to get us stuff on time and why it costs so much more when they wait till the last minute, right?
Oh, yeah.
We can make videos about this. So
I make a video about naming conventions.
Naming conventions, we can do videos about that. We can do videos about all kinds of things. We've discussed naming conventions right here on this very broadcast, right? Anyway, let's talk about video content tips, tricks, and strategies. We're going to talk about intros and outros. We're going to talk about SEO tagging tips for videos you've already created but aren't getting much love. How to take your YouTube channel from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less.
Woo! I like that one.
Exactly.
What?
How to take your YouTube channel from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less. That sounds good, right?
Yes, I
I
love
made that
it.
up. Now I've set the bar very high. I have to live up to that. How to monetize your content. And we're going to talk about Vimeo versus YouTube.
Oh, wow. You're going to cover all that in the next 40 minutes?
It's going to be really fast, Marriott. Remember, it's me. I talk
And
very
no one
fast.
asked any questions either.
Nobody talk. Nobody talk.
All right, and so some of this actually is pretty quick because as far as intros and outros go, as the first topic. Oh, and notice my brain. The brain 9.0, by the way, is really cool. If you haven't played with it, if you haven't played with my brain, play with it. It's really cool. So intros and outros. I've got a whole video that teaches you and gives you different, I think 2 or 3 different ways of approaching creating intros in your videos. So I'm not going to do that again here. It would take up the whole hour anyway. But the long and short of it is, you know, you can use PowerPoint, right? And so that's kind of how my intro is done, is I created a PowerPoint slide. Mine's kind of a hybrid because I created a PowerPoint slide, a generic one with just my logo on it, leaving a lot of white space, so that I can bring that into Camtasia, and then I can use Camtasia to put text, you know, overlays on top of that, so I can put my titles and things. So I do that part in Camtasia, because why would I want to create all that work for myself, having to recreate a new slide in PowerPoint every time I do a new video, right? So this makes it really easy to create a generic intro, which I can then stick in the Camtasia library. And I suppose I should probably open up Camtasia and show you what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Let's see, I'm now looking, while I'm waiting for Camtasia to open, I see a comment in the live feed. Just got off the phone with a guy who gave me 5 new credit card logins for 2017. Awesome. Just charge a lot. If you're willing to stay up late to get it done in time, charge a lot.
Hey, Seth, are you going to add the link to the video you made on intro and outro in Facebook?
I have to go look it up. I wasn't planning on it.
My new
No, I will.
my new philosophy of people do back work, I'm like, I need your CSV files or I can't really do this.
Yep.
That's my new, I'm really trying to hit hard on that just because I'm not going to spend this time entering all this stuff.
So, and by the way, I've paid for the new Camtasia upgrade, and I still haven't installed it yet. I haven't had time. Isn't that sad?
I did it the first day.
Yeah, I haven't had, I'm too busy like making videos to upgrade. So here I'm in my library in Camtasia, and you'll see the nerd intro. I'm going to right click and add timeline to playhead. Oop, hold on. We've got
That's weird. You've got your screen is sharing in Facebook, but not on Zoom.
That's weird. How could it be sharing in one and not the other?
I don't know.
So how do you, so it's permanently in your library then?
Yeah.
Do you see his screen, Adam?
I'm going to stop sharing and then start sharing again.
I saw it, yeah.
Tiffany, maybe, because Zoom will have 2 windows, right? One with all of us and one with what I'm sharing. So maybe you just lost a window behind something.
There it is.
How do you do that to get that permanently in your library?
I'll show you. I will show you. So first I'm going to zoom in on the timeline so you can see. The whole thing is grouped. So I'm going to ungroup it, because when I originally created it, it was just like this, right? I used, you know, out of Camtasia's music library, I picked my music. And then here's the audio, my intro that I recorded, right? And of course, this is the PowerPoint slide. Now, this one is purely slide. There's no text overlay from Camtasia because this is permanent. This is in every single video. It's never going to change, right? But this second part is where I used a generic slide and just did text overlays for the title. And this is really the source at the top, right? So this is like when I'm doing a lesson for accounting for e-commerce businesses, then that's the course title. And then this would be the lesson title here. If it's a blog post, I come in here, I click, and I change this to Nerd's Blog. And then down here in the larger font, I put the blog post title in there, right? So this part's all pretty easy to create, especially if you've taken my other Camtasia video lessons. And then, Adam, to get to your question, the first thing I did was you can click and drag to highlight all of the elements that are on the timeline, and then right-click and group them, and then right-click the group and choose Add to Library. And then it'll just ask you to name it, and that keeps it permanently in the Camtasia library. And then it's just there for you to use every time. Big time saver.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I need to start doing, because I have to dig and find all this stuff from all these weird Camtasia files that I'm working on stuff. And
what I used to do is, because you can copy and paste something in one Camtasia video edit bay, you can Control-C and copy. Like I could Control-C this whole thing, or even, you know, select all the elements and hit Control-C, then open up another Camtasia project and paste it in. And that's what I was doing for the longest time, is I would take the intro from the last video that I did, Control C, copy it, open up the new Camtasia one that I want to create, Control V to paste it. But even that was like, I was like, no, it's too much work, right? And so I figured out that you could add it into the library to save time.
If you add it into the library and then you use it, excuse me, you use it and then you do your edits of the screen, is that updating?
It's not going to update the library asset. No, that's why when you before you use it, when you just get it ready generically. Like if I had it to do again, I would have generically put, you know, just like
enter,
just language here, like enter title here kind of thing, right? And you can always update it, right? So I could do that now if I wanted to, and I could just delete this from the library and then save a new one into the library. It's not a big deal. But if you do that, and then you go to access one of the videos that use the old one, it's going to give you a little thing that kind of says, hey, I can't find this asset, right? So be wary of doing that, especially if you think you're going to have videos that have used it that you're going to want to go back and access later. Not a big deal, especially with an intro. It's generally very easy to recreate anyway when you need to. Now for the outro, I usually just, if I'm going to even do it and I've stopped bothering with it, I'll just take the intro and copy and paste it onto the end, right? And then I stopped doing it because the reality is when I looked at my YouTube stats, which we're going to take a look at in a little bit, nobody listens till the end. So to me, in my opinion, putting an outro on the video is kind of a waste of time. Nobody's ever going to listen to it. Even if they do watch your whole video through and through, as soon as they realize the video has ended and that they're watching an outro, they're
Next
not gonna,
video.
yeah, exactly. They're not going to sit there waiting for you to sell them on something. So if you want to put any kind of call to action, it really needs to be in the intro. It needs to be up front. You need to hold them hostage and make them listen to it before they get into the substance of whatever your video is about, right? Got to be up front. To me, outro is kind of a waste of time. The other thing is outros extend the duration of the video. And a lot of people will look, I do it, before I watch a video, the first thing I do is look, how long is this video, right? And if the video is longer than I care to spend watching a video right now, I'm going to skip it and maybe I'll go back later. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have the best of intentions of going back later. Maybe I'll actually get to it or maybe I won't, right? So that's my sort of bit on intros and outros. I don't think the outros are worthwhile. But if you really want to have them, just copy and paste the intro to the end. If you really want to do something fun, have like a few, like about 30 seconds of like just dead air, and then put something else in there and be like, are you still listening to this? Like, don't you have anything better to do? Go away.
Yeah, or like bloopers.
Exactly.
Little sound bites like movie clips.
Yeah, or like, congratulations, you're part of the elite group of people who stick around to the very end of the video.
I like what AppSumo does, where they throw the little bloopers in at the end. I always actually stick around and watch for those.
See, I can't put my bloopers in because they're not PG rated. They're usually me screaming expletives and having some kind of a Tourette's kind of fit because something went terribly wrong while I was recording. I got in big trouble for that once. I won't say who, but I was producing video content for somebody, and while I was dead smack in the middle of the video, and it was like my third time through trying to get it done, the phone rings. And it was my home phone line, which I never answer. Nobody has that number except my mother. So I knew it was a sales call. So the phone rings. I'm dead smack in the middle of a recording. And I shouted the F word. And I picked up the phone. And I'm like, F you. And I hung up the phone. And
hopefully it wasn't your mother.
No, of course not. But yeah, that would be funny if it was. That would even be funnier. No, so I forgot to edit that out of the finished video because I was in a rush. And it was like the last video I was going to be doing for this client. I was done with them. And I was done with them on like every possible level. Like I didn't want to deal with them anymore. So I just rushed. I didn't bother to edit the video. I'm like, it's good as is. I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to process it, upload it. And a few days later, I get a Slack message from one of the marketing people saying, Seth, I don't know if you had a chance to review the video you put up, but at about the 2 minute and some odd seconds mark, you got a phone call and you started cursing. I was like, oh no. I thought it was hilarious. They didn't.
That one got like 1 million views.
Yeah, no, yeah, imagine. Well, apparently it was a customer who had listened to it who brought it to their attention, so it was really bad. Needless to say, I'm not working with them anymore. But
sort of a nice
anyway,
parting shot.
Yeah, so those are what my bloopers come out like. That's when the drunken sailor in me comes out, and not stuff I could really share unless I wanted to sort of go the Gary Vaynerchuk route with things, right? And just drop F-bombs every other word. So let's talk about YouTube for a minute. Ooh, look at today's momentum photo. How pretty. It's so pretty. Services. CDNs, by the way, just in case you're wondering, stands for Content Delivery Network. That's what YouTube is. It's a content delivery network. Vimeo is also called a content delivery network. It's a network through which you deliver content, right?
Or it's short for Canadian.
Oh, that's true. Canadian dollars. That's true. Maybe Canadian dollars are like a content delivery network. I don't know. But I like the way you think, Tiffany. That's very ethnocentric of you. So let's go into YouTube, and while we're here, might as well pop Vimeo open because we're going to talk about that too. Look at that! I'm just shy of 15,000 subscribers. I need more subscribers. What?
What's Hector at?
What?
What's Hector at? I'm trying to stir the pot.
He's at like 25,000.
Like 3 months he'll be all right.
He beat me out. I don't know, maybe like a year ago he surpassed me. I don't know how he did it, but there's a simple answer. If you're worried about getting more subscribers, and this taps a little bit into the next topic, which is how to take your channel from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less. The first key is produce a lot of content. The truth is Hector had been producing a lot more content than I was. So he got more subscribers. It's not rocket science, right? Mm-hmm. And because I slowed down, and I also spent 2 years producing content on another YouTube channel, right? Based on my association with those we don't speak of. And so that kind of, halted my, movement in this YouTube channel. And then I went back to it, right? And I'll never leave you again. So this is, this is the basic premise of it. You want more subscribers, produce more content, right? And
but there's a thing of diminishing returns, aren't there, where there's quality versus quantity?
Well, I'm not saying produce crappy content. I'm assuming we understand that we're talking about producing good content always. But it's not hard to produce a lot of good content. If you produce stuff that actually teaches somebody how to do something that wasn't easy or obvious how to do, then you're pretty safe. If you follow those basic rules, then you're pretty safe. So, YouTube, of course, as they should, is constantly updating the layout, trying to make things better. So now here's where you go to create a new video or a post if you want to upload something, right? Notice you can go live directly on YouTube now, and you can create a post. But I want to take you kind of into the back end of this. First of all, you should try the new sort of beta of the video kind of manager that they have. So if I click in here, and here's
what's different between posting a video and creating a post?
I don't know. I've never created a post on YouTube. I imagine it could be writing a post that includes a video. No idea. So here I go. Of course, this is the actual video screen, and then we're going to edit the video. So here's what I'm talking about. This is new, and if you have a YouTube channel and you haven't already gotten the prompt and opted in, opt in, because this is where they're going to push you to anyway. Might as well start learning how to use the new back-end interface for videos.
Opt into what?
To the new beta video manager. This is it. You see, it's a very different layout than what you used to be looking at when you would go to edit a video, right? And they may give it to people like me first because I have a lot of subscribers. So you may not have gotten the prompt yet because it is just a beta. So if you haven't seen the option to do it, don't worry. It's probably just coming and they haven't rolled it out to you yet. As soon as you get over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, they start treating you better. They kind of give you special treatment. Special. I'm special. So anyway, notice that in my description, it says get the video notes here. I always play around with like what little header I want to use. Sometimes it says get the write-up. Sometimes it says get the rest. But get the I like what I don't like saying is get the blog post here, because blog post is just so like another blog post. There's like millions of blog posts, right? But video notes sounds new and exciting. Like, oh my God, I want video notes, right? So anyway, I play around with that. Initially, when I create any new video that I create, by default here, we'll just say, get more on our website at nerdenterprises.com. And then the rest of this is all just default standard language that comes in. I keep it pretty simple, but this is my chance to sell stuff, right? So I have a link right to my subscription-based training, a link right to my one-on-one training, and a link right to templates, because YouTube sells a lot of templates for me, right? A lot of people are watching my videos on a particular template I've created, and then I can't tell you, even though this is right here, I can't tell you how many people still email me because they obviously don't look at the description and say, how do I get the template? And I just give them the same link again. No big deal, right? Notice that I'm tagging stuff, and a lot of these tags are also tags that I've established to come into every video that I do by default, right? And so that's one of the things I said I wanted to talk about is setting channel defaults. I'm actually skipping ahead of something, but it's appropriate to talk about here. So how do we get into that? Let's go into my channel again.
Do you collect you might not do this, but do you collect, like, I've been huge on collecting like blog articles lately. I've just amassed an entire huge collection of like 400 blog posts in like the last 2 months.
What do you mean collecting, like other people's blogs?
I use other people's blogs, and then when I'm doing research, I just go through blogs and sort of.
Yeah, we call that a swipe file.
Yeah.
There's actually a word for that. We call it a swipe file because it's something you're going to use to swipe information from. It could be even something you've written that you're like, I don't want to use this yet, but it's good stuff, so I want to save it for later. And so you save it in your swipe file, and then you go to that swipe file when you're ready.
You just use a Google Doc for that, or is there a tool?
Anything. You can use a Google Doc. You can use Evernote. Yeah.
There's no specific little.
There's no app for swipe files. No.
Use?
And then there's there's apps like Pocket that I suppose you could think of as something you could use for that purpose, right? But Pocket is really more of a way of collecting things that you want to read, that you don't have time to read right now. Okay, so here I am in my settings. And it always takes me a minute to remember where to find this, plus they're constantly moving it around. Let me try advanced settings here. I don't think it's advanced, but it might even be under playback and performance. We're looking for something called channel defaults. And that's where I want to show you can establish your default language that goes with every new video. So it's smart to do that.
Can you enter that in the search button, search bar?
No, I don't think so.
Right there, at the top, no? Okay.
We can try it. No, this is more for like just searching YouTube, I think. Yeah. I should do what that guy did and just create a video about it, and then I'll always remember how to do it. How about view additional features? This might be where it is. Here it is, upload defaults. So you had to go into channel. And this is where it gets really screwy because this has to do with the two different interfaces. Part of it is the beta with the new interface, and this actually is back into the old interface. So they haven't moved all the stuff into the beta yet. I remember that, and that's why I always have trouble finding it. So when you go into your Creator Studio, under channel, you'll see it. Here's upload defaults. Okay, and so by default, I always have the privacy set to unlisted. Right? You want to either do that or private, because just because you're uploading it doesn't mean you're ready for it to go out to the world yet, especially if you're going to write and publish a blog post. And sometimes, because the video can take a while to upload and process, I want to get that going right away. And oftentimes while that's uploading, that's when I go back into WordPress and I do my Yoast SEO optimizing and all the other stuff to get the post ready. Excuse me, and then I'll save that as a draft. This I know is going to come in as unlisted, so it doesn't get published until I'm really ready for it to. Excuse me. The category for me is always education, right? Because that's how I want my channel scene. Everything is education.
What about how to and style? I've seen Hector do his on
I used to do how to and style. I felt education was more appropriate for me.
I also noticed that your monetization was turned off.
Yeah, they disabled my monetization a long time ago.
You don't care.
Well, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They killed it.
They
YouTube
demonetized it.
YouTube said, sorry, pal. And they don't tell you what you're doing wrong. They just tell you that you're doing something wrong. They just tell you that you're a terrible person, and therefore you can't monetize with them. So, yeah, I just got a little love letter from them many years ago saying, hey, we've decided that you're a threat to our advertisers, therefore we've disabled your monetization. And you can appeal it all day long. You get the same bullshit response, you know, saying, we've reviewed your account and we've determined that you are still unfit to, you know, do it, whatever. I don't care. I decided then to use it to promote my own products instead of other people's products, right? Because when you're monetizing, that's what you're doing. You're promoting somebody else's products and getting paid for it. Which, look, that's the model a lot of times these days is you build an audience. But the truth is, and I believe Hector will attest to this, you don't make that much money. It's like it's not even worth it.
I got 4 subscribers and I got the beta.
Okay.
So just FYI.
Okay.
So everyone should basically have it then.
They probably gave it to you because of your musical tastes.
That's right.
So
This
anyway,
guy's a drummer. He knows what he's talking about.
so notice my upload defaults. And again, this goes by default with every video that I publish. So if I'm in a rush and I don't want to take the time right now, I have at least something in there and I can always go back to it later, right? I also keep a profile of everything I ever publish. And I've gone around to different sort of products with this in terms of what I use to do this with, but I've circled back to Evernote at this point, and we'll probably stay with Evernote for this purpose forever. But notice what I do. Because using the example of when I want to go back to that video later to, you know, update the description, I can make those notes and I can add a reminder in Evernote so that I don't forget to do that, right? So in Evernote, here is at the end, when it's all published, I put the actual URL of the blog post at the top. This is a link to the Google Doc where the original blog post was written, my key phrase that I wanted to optimize for, right? And then I also now, every video gets uploaded to Facebook because why not, right? And Facebook gives a lot of love to videos. So that's a third. First I do Vimeo, then YouTube, because Vimeo is what I'm going to use to embed it in my blog, right? Because I like the Vimeo player better. It's cleaner, it's nicer, and in general, I don't have to worry with Vimeo about what Hector recently ran into. Vimeo will never shut my channel down because I pay them.
Yeah,
right?
I
If
think
anything,
that too.
there will be a customer service person from Vimeo who will reach out to me and say, hey, there's a problem, and they'll give me an opportunity to address it. They won't just shut your channel down. Sorry, pal.
Your
right?
mic just went off for like 10 seconds.
Is it back on now?
It is, yeah.
It was working fine for me.
Me and Tiffany, I think.
There.
It's
It's
not
back
me,
now.
it's you.
Okay.
Well, some people say they can hear me, and some say they can't. Can you hear me now? Anyway, so in case you didn't hear, what I was saying is Vimeo will never shut you down like that. Vimeo, you actually have customer service people you can talk to about your account because you're paying for it. And it's not a lot of money. It's $200 a year for a pro account. Very well worth it. You know, if one video of yours gets you one new client on YouTube, that will more than pay for your Vimeo account. So make YouTube pay for Vimeo, right? Because YouTube's free. But do both. And so that was also, it's also by favoring Vimeo that way, it's also my little way, not that YouTube really gives a crap about me, but it was my way of sticking it to them and saying, ha, that's what you get for demonetizing me. So I wrote YouTube a letter saying, I've carefully reviewed your situation with me, and I've determined that your content delivery network is not sufficient or fit for me to be using your video player as embeds on my blog. So there. Anyway, back to business and getting serious again. So I upload everything to Facebook. First I do Vimeo because that's going to get embedded in the blog. Then I do YouTube. And actually now that I've upgraded my internet speed, it takes literally like 10 seconds to upload a video, even though the files are huge because I have a gig up and down with my current internet service at home.
So your blog is basically just videos on your site.
No, I put the write-ups too.
No, but what I'm saying is you click on the site, it's a video and then the write-up. It's not just a blog.
I rarely post a blog without a video to go.
Fundera stuff is basically your version of the write-up for a blog, a traditional blog.
You lost me on that last one.
The Fundera stuff that you do, like those articles you write for Fundera, right?
Right.
That's
but those all have videos that go with them too.
Okay, I thought they were, for some reason I thought they were just writing.
No, there is always a video. It's kind of like something I insist on. It's part of my brand, right? It's very rare that you'll ever get a blog post from me without a video, unless it's one of those sort of personal, introspective, reflective blog posts that I write once in a while. Like there's one that kind of came back up after a while. It was called Almost Normal, right? And that one didn't have a video to go with it. So that's, when I get in that sort of deep, sort of drunken kind of, not that I actually drink anymore, but just like that mindset, where I get really introspective and reflective. Those are the best blog posts, by the way. Those are the ones that everybody ends up loving because they're very heartfelt, like I'm really coming from deep within my heart and putting something out there for people. And that's what usually people can relate to the best. But they have nothing to do with how to do something in QuickBooks. So Vimeo, YouTube, and then also Facebook. You should absolutely upload your videos to Facebook because Facebook is now giving you the platform to do it. So you should take advantage of that. And Facebook has a lot of traffic, right? And even though YouTube, Hector actually asked me when I first started doing these Zooms, why am I going live on Facebook instead of YouTube when there's so many more people on YouTube and such a wider audience? And I didn't really know how to articulate the answer to him then, but it was the same answer that I now know how to articulate really well, which is very simply this. If you market to everyone, you may as well market to no one.
I've heard that a lot this week.
Yep. And so, and what I mean by that is, yeah, YouTube's got a huge audience, but most of them don't care about what I'm doing. Whereas Facebook, I have a highly targeted audience of people who know me, love my work, and want to, consume that content. Love. Did I do it right? I don't have a good heart.
You've got a great heart, Seth.
Thank you, Greg. So that is the answer to why I go live on Facebook and not YouTube, right? Because it would be like putting this tiny little fish hook in the Pacific Ocean and waiting for something that's never going to come and bite, kind of thing. I don't know if that was a good analogy or not. It might have been terrible. So, channel defaults. Now, how to take your video because this is a big promise, how to take your video from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less. And I'm going to give you the answer that I can give you in just a few minutes on a Zoom. Obviously, it goes a lot deeper than what I could do right now, but I want to at least get you started. And the answer, quite honestly, is I'm going to start with this. So if you're taking notes, Tiffany, it looks like you're taking notes. I don't know if you're taking, I don't know if it's that my stuff is so good or you're doing something else. Wow. I'm very flattered.
Is that Rocketbook or is it just a notebook?
Is that Evernote Moleskine?
That's the Evernote Moleskine. Yeah.
Nice.
What is that? I have to look that up.
I have an article on it on my blog and a video.
Oh, I can search for that.
Yeah, you can search for it right on my blog. It's called Evernote Moleskine Notebooks, What They Don't Tell You.
I love them.
The same concept as the Rocket?
It's very similar. Well, not exactly, because the Rocketbook, I think, is that the one you throw in the microwave and it clears the stuff off so you can reuse it?
Yes.
The Rocketbook. So Evernote, no, you can write your notes in it, and then you can put like stickers on it, and then when you take a photo note with Evernote, those stickers will tell it what notebook to put it in and what tags to add to it. And then you can also, there it is, see, Tiffany's all set. She's like, she's ready to rock with her Moleskine notebook. And then you can also, and this is what I was pissed off about that I wrote the article about essentially, is at the top right corner of the note pages, there's a little reminder thing you can check off that will presumably cause it to add a reminder. It only works on iOS. It doesn't work on Android. And
I don't have it in Canada.
You don't have it
on mine. I don't know.
Oh.
My notebook doesn't have that.
Well, there it is there. So in the end, in all honesty, I mean, first of all, don't get me wrong, and I've got a stack of them somewhere over here that I didn't give away. I bought a bunch of them last year and gave them away as gifts to people along with a video. They're really cool little notebooks to write in, but truth be told, I don't really need the stickers to tell it where to put the stuff. And so for that matter, I can go buy a salt and pepper notebook at my local supermarket and do the same thing.
Except this is scannable. So you scan it into Evernote, and then it reads out the OCR of all the words.
Oh, does that? But
Yeah.
but wouldn't Evernote's OCR technology work on any notebook?
I don't know.
You know what? We should do an experiment and try it. I would think that its OCR capabilities would not be limited to just one kind of notebook. I don't know. Maybe it does.
Maybe.
Plus, my handwriting is terrible, so no OCR technology under the sun can read my handwriting anyway. So for
That's
me, it's
exactly what I was thinking. Sometimes I go back to it 3 months after the fact, I'm like,
What the heck was that?
what world did I write down?
So, all right, but let's get back to.
But at the time, I knew it.
Sorry. We digress.
No, it's okay. But I know that there's people watching at home who are taking copious notes who want to learn about video tips and strategies.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Strategies. But maybe next week we can talk about like notebooks, like what kind of how do you take notes? That would be a great topic actually. Next week, tune back in next week at the same time. So we want to be strategic about this. That's really the first start to answering the question, how do you get from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less, right? The start is you want to be strategic about it, and you want to be focused. So the first thing you want to think about is, why am I doing this, right? Whom am I trying to attract with my content, right? And let's face it, if you're doing this for business, then you probably have a certain target niche client that you're going for. So one thing I set out to do a couple of years ago, because I said, you know what, I really love working with my real estate broker and agent clients. It's just really easy to me to set them up in QuickBooks, and bottom line, I can do a lot of content around how to record the sale of a home and all the stuff that I can do with real estate content-wise. So it's a perfect storm, so to speak. So you pick a target audience and you say, I'm going to produce for this audience. And you build a mini mountain of content around that general subject matter, right? Outline it, schedule it, and be consistent with it. In other words, get your audience, think of yourself as a TV station with regularly scheduled programming. You know what I've done for many years? Every Friday at 8 a.m., I go live in a Hangout-like style ever since Google Hangouts was in beta, right? It's regularly scheduled programming. It's you get people used to the idea that on this day at this time, something happens, right? A new video comes out with a blog post. A Zoom call happens every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, right? Be consistent and schedule it that way. Now, as far as tools go, there's probably no better tool for this than, guess what I'm going to choose? Because there's a lot that you could organize your content scheduling with. But gold star to whoever can guess which of them I'm going to give you right now.
Evernote.
Nope, not for scheduling.
You used to be all about Meet Edgar, but
No, I'm not. That's for scheduling content after you've created it. I'm talking about a content calendar where you organize what you're going to produce and when.
Trello.
Who?
Trello?
Trello would be a good choice for that.
Active Collab.
Active Collab.
Nope, that's more project management.
Oh.
Google Calendar.
Airtable.
Airtable. Airtable is the one.
Bilbies.
Airtable
What?
is the one, and in fact, Bilbies.
What'd you say, Adam? Rupees?
He said Bilbies. He's being a clown because he's sick and tired of me talking about Bilbies. In fact, in Airtable, if I go to create a new base and I say start with a template, you'll see there's already content calendar projects built right in here that will help you. So use one of these as your template. And by the way, if you're not using any collaborators, you're only going to pay the $20 per month for Airtable, right? So if it's just you and you don't have a team of people who need to work on the content with you, it's not going to get that expensive. But Airtable has a great content calendar feature or sample project that you can use to do this. So I'll just click in and I'll say use template just so we can kind of get a sense of what this looks like. And if you're inclined, you can really do a lot of the same stuff in Smartsheet. That's why I was thinking a lot of you were going to say Smartsheet, and I would have said close, but Airtable's a little better. Airtable's just a wee little bit superior. Just because of the way it helps you to organize things, right? So here we have, and again, it gives you stuff with content in there just so you can kind of follow along and get an idea, right? So we have, I don't know what Voyager.com is. I suppose it's an example of a company that would be doing this, right? But notice we have, and this is because this I guess, example is one where they probably have a big online publication that has different sort of columns. So they have our picks, spotlight, food fair. So this is more for like an online magazine almost. But for you, instead of having different columns or sections of the magazine that you're producing content for, you might replace that with something like the categories, right? So QuickBooks for real estate might be one category. QuickBooks for e-commerce might be another category, right? So you're going to organize those general areas that you're writing content for and maybe use that as your way of doing this, right? So that's the idea here. And so that you can start, like I said, being strategic. And what you really want to do is have built a deep outline of content that you're going to go ahead and produce. Then, just like I said, you want to regularly schedule when something comes out. In order to make that happen, you'll want to schedule time that you're going to be spending producing that content. And ideally, what you're going to want to do is block out a big block of time, you know, like maybe a whole day. If you're not doing anything on a Saturday, then spend all day Saturday and do nothing but record and write content. Don't worry about editing just yet, because the editing is kind of easy, and you can do that on the fly later on. The hard part is writing and then recording. And speaking of which, and this is probably noteworthy if you're taking notes, I always write the content first. I used to do it the other way around because most of the time when I did something, I had the idea in my head and I just wanted to make the video, and then the content was sort of secondary to that, and it was just for SEO purposes. But what I learned over the years doing this a lot is that after I've written the content and really organized it, the video comes out much better because I'm so much more clear on the ideas and what I really want to bring out in the video, and that way the videos end up coming out much more focused. I don't digress too far from the core topic because I've got it so clearly outlined. And generally speaking, I try and plan on recording it, you know, a short time after I've written it, like within a day, right, while it's still fresh in my mind. I saw Mariette pop back in there for a second. It was like she was there, and then she was gone. There's James. Watch James grow.
Seth is funny. Is Seth funny? Tell him. You're funny, Seth.
Hi, James.
Hi.
Sup?
Say hi.
Hi.
James is famous. So schedule your content production. Some of you know I recently took a whole week off and did nothing but content all week. It was like the best week of my life. I really enjoyed it. It really was. I really enjoyed it. I was so much more relaxed than I normally am. You know, normally I'm just constantly on the go, constantly like, oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do that. Like I'm ADD boy times 10. I was just nice and relaxed. I spent all day Monday that week just doing nothing but writing content. I already had the outline of what I wanted to create, right? And now I'll show you, speaking of that, what I do use Airtable for, because I do use Airtable, and this is something you could also easily do in Evernote. Not Airtable, I mean Active Collab. Just for ideas, to jot down ideas. And you could just as well do that in Airtable too, because Airtable's got a great mobile app. But as long as you have some place where when you're on the fly, and I always use the example of when I'm sitting at the barber shop waiting to get my hair cut, that's when I seem to get a lot of ideas because I'm sitting around idly waiting, right? But in Active Collab, I have this project called Content or Newsletters. And so this is where I have topics. And so for the topics that I wanted to do in the week that I took off, I moved them all into this WIP task list, right? And this is what I worked on. And then as I worked on these, and these ones that are ready to edit are just that. These ones that don't have any label next to them have already been produced, and they're either published or waiting to be published. I think. Actually, I don't think I did this one. Anyway, but you know, you get the idea. So Airtable is a great place to track ideas and kind of create a hopper of sorts of what you want to do, right, of what you're going to work on. And notice what I've also done, and I learned this from reading an article about how to manage and organize your content, is I have a list called high quality, medium quality, and low quality, right? So if I think, because sometimes I'll throw ideas into the inbox here, and then I'll go back a day or a week or months later, and I'll look at it and I'll say, you know what, this is crap, and I'll just move it into low quality. I never like to delete an idea because you never know, right? I might decide later that it's not low quality. And so high quality are obviously the things I want to do sort of next, and medium quality is, well, somewhere in the middle, right? Like maybe it's good, maybe it's not good, I'm not so sure. And if you're wondering, my current campaign like I was saying, I one time I set out and I did a whole bunch of real estate content. So you want to create a topic or subject matter area and create a mini mountain of content around that subject matter. If you're wondering, mine right now is just QuickBooks Online, like basic stuff in QuickBooks Online. And one of the things I've gotten, I think, to be known for, especially on Nerd's blog, is to produce content around sort of very specific topics, sometimes almost off the wall. Like I had one I did years ago, and this gives you an idea of like how I come up with ideas and so on. I used to be a big fan of the show Storage Warriors. Anybody ever watch that show, Storage Warriors? And so I was sitting there watching it one night, and what these guys do is they go and bid on storage lockers. They can't go in and look at anything. They can only look for the outside. They get a few minutes to kind of peek around without going in, and then they start the bidding. And so whoever bids the most wins whatever's in the locker, and they're hoping that all these people have like thrift stores, basically. So they're hoping they're going to, out of all this junk that they get, there's going to be, a few things in the mix that are going to be able to be sold for more than enough to pay for what they paid for the locker and make a profit on it, right? So I was thinking about it because at the end of the show, they show you all the items that they considered saleable and what they'll sell it for to give you an idea of how much money they're going to make off of that locker. And I was thinking of how would I do the accounting on something like that? And just out of curiosity, I sat down and sketched out a little Excel template and based it on what they say they're going to sell the stuff for, and I know what they paid for the locker, so then just prorate it based on a percentage to figure out what the cost of the items are, right? So you're backing into what the cost of goods sold is based on what they say they're going to sell this stuff for, because the price of the whole locker includes all that other stuff that they're never going to sell, so we don't want to include that in the calculation. And so I thought, okay, this might be a fun template, cool video, and it might even attract clients who do this for a living, right? So I went ahead and I created the video and the template for this, and I sold the template. Never really went very far. I don't really care, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not quite as strategic as others might be about, what subjects I'll choose to do videos on. I base it more on what I'm excited about, right? Because that excitement's going to rub off anyway, and somebody somewhere, if I like it, somebody else is going to like it. And I've gotten a small amount of traffic from it, and a few people have bought the template, so what do I care? The hour or so that I might have spent producing that content has probably more than paid for itself, even if it's just a handful of people that bought the template. But what it also does that you can never see or figure out for sure is it attracts still more people who then get exposed to the rest of my content. So you never know when somebody comes in because they're curious, like, what did he do about this Storage Warriors thing? And then that leads them into something else that I've done. And that pays off. The truth is you'll never know. Larry says in the comments, because he's looking at my screen, I can't wait to see the one on inventory in QBO. I've already published the one on purchase orders in QBO. So make sure you check that out, because that's a good precursor to the one I'm going to do on inventory. So anyway, the current subject is QuickBooks Online and sort of basics, but very specific, and some of it maybe not so basic, but just very specific subjects like managing purchase orders. And that one that I'm talking about was not just about how to fill out a purchase order form. That's pretty easy, probably not even worthy of a video. It's more about the bigger picture process that I do around the purchase orders and how I manage all of that. And it does actually introduce Bilbies, since Adam brought Bilbies up, because I show how I use Bilbies in that very specific process, and it's actually really cool workflow. Kathy says could also do this in Asana. Absolutely. Of course, any project management tool you can use to do what I've done here in Active Collab. And it's a whole other conversation. We were recently having it on Facebook for a number of reasons that I can list another time. I prefer Active Collab over Asana, big time. There's a few key reasons why that I won't get into now, because that would again be a whole nother hour. So how to take your YouTube channel from 100 to 1,000 subscribers in 6 months or less. Be strategic, be very organized, be like a TV channel, outline the content that you want to produce, then get to work producing it. And produce a lot of content at once so that you're not under pressure once you've established the time that something's going to go out every week. And don't overcommit yourself. Plan on just one thing going out every week. That is more than enough to start with, right? If you get one video out a week, you're doing very well, right? If you think about it, that's 52 new videos a year. And if you look at my YouTube channel, I don't have that many videos. You probably think I had a lot more. I don't know. I would think I had a lot more. Where's my channel at? Where's my channel at? I thought it said somewhere here the total. Oh, maybe if I go to videos. It used to say somewhere right at the top how many videos I had. I think it's under. I don't think I quite have 1,000 videos on YouTube yet. Something less than that. And this is one thing that drives me crazy about the way they constantly reorganize it. Is it's hard to find things that you used to know exactly where to. What?
About? Well, that's again.
No, that's just something I wrote 100 years ago. I don't know. It used to say it right up here where it has the subscribers, how many videos I had.
Yeah.
Maybe if I go into the actual video manager, let's try that. My channel. No, that just took me back there. Oh, YouTube Studio. That's the beta. $14,952 subscribers, up 241. So in the last 28 days, I've gained 241 subscribers. Why? Because I've been producing a lot more content recently. You know, and so obviously it steps it up. So, you know, the more frequently I produce content, the more I'm going to see that number increase. Still doesn't show me how many videos I have. Notice my top videos, and this is over the last 48 hours, but this is pretty consistent. Bookkeeping basics, right? How to enter payroll has always been, and then I have another bookkeeping basics one called Intro to Bookkeeping. These two are really kind of the same subject matter, just with a different title and a little different approach, and recorded at different times, and they both do very well, as you can see. These are in the last 48 hours, my top in my top 3, and if I show you the overall stats, it would also be in my top 3. The analytics is really useful in YouTube, you know, in terms of telling you what people are watching and for how long, right? Again, here's Bookkeeping Basics 1, top videos in the last 48 hours, 520 views on this. Again, how to enter payroll, intro, year-end closing. This one cycles. All of a sudden, it'll like get no attention for months, and then all of a sudden, it gets a lot of attention, and there's really not much to it. And then how to set up tasks and to-dos in Smartsheet has gotten a bunch of traction lately. And what happens with that is, and I know where this comes from, people started commenting on it. Right? So comments are key. Comments are like currency on YouTube. You want people to comment, and you have to remind people to comment because they won't. Usually the only time people comment is when they're pissed off, right? And I got plenty of those on Bookkeeping Basics 1. It was a video I did so many years ago. The equipment I was using was not what I use today, and so the sound quality wasn't great. And so most people love the video and say, hey, this is great stuff. But occasionally I get somebody and they're trolling me, you know, trying to get a rise out of me and putting negative comments in there. And I've learned, by the way, to deal with that. In fact, what I've learned, especially as a strategy to how to deal with those people, is usually those people themselves are very encourageable. That's why they do what they do. So I'll share a quick story with you. A different video, I don't remember which one. This guy comes along and he comments and just nothing else, just calls me a fat F word, right? So, you know, my first inclination was just delete the comment, move on. I had learned to do that much. But then I said, no, wait a minute. I can have some fun with a guy like this. Because usually the reason these trolls do what they do is because they themselves are very encourageable, so they assume others are going to be. So I wrote back a comment saying, tell me how you really feel. And then he writes back this whole long diatribe, you know, and it was actually really funny what the guy wrote. He was a good writer. And so he wrote this really funny, long response, and then capped off with something like, oh yeah, but you're still a fat F or whatever, right? I mean, just bear with me on this because I'm going to tell you why I was able to turn it into something really positive for me. So I wrote something back. I forget what. I get another long response from him. And I wrote still another comment back. And my responses were like one line, right? Just very short, simple responses. You know, like the first one, tell me how you really feel. So then finally he says, come on, fight back. Like he made it clear he was trying to get a rise out of me. And it was clear that it was frustrating him that he wasn't. And so finally then I wrote back to him actually before the last one. And I said, I am fighting back. You just haven't figured out my game yet. And again, he writes back one more reply, and finally I just ended it because I was like, okay, now I don't have any more time for this. So I gave it away what I was doing, and I wrote back, I said, I love you from the bottom of my keyboard. Every time you post another reply, you improve my video stats. Because it doesn't matter what they say. It just matters that there's activity on the video. And so I went on explaining and thanking him. I said, thank you so much, because now this video is going to come up in other related video searches, and you just helped me get a whole bunch more views on this video. And he never responded again. Dumb shit. So anyway, that's, so comments are good. Even if they're negative, comments are good. And so don't worry if somebody comments negatively. I mean, and always try and look, even if it's not well intended, always try and look at it as, is there actually good feedback in here? Can I use this to improve? That's another thing I've learned to do, is to take the feedback seriously, even if it's not intended, even if it's not sort of well-intentioned. I treat it that way, or I try to treat it that way at first and see, is there something I can do to improve here, right? And I've done that. I've actually taken, criticism that wasn't well-meaning, but turned it into something that I could use and made my content better, because even though it wasn't meant that way, I took it to heart and I used it to improve, what I do and how I do it. I promised YouTube versus Vimeo and how to monetize. Those are the two things I didn't get to cover this morning. So I'll just touch on them really quickly. And I already did touch a little bit on Vimeo. And I like Vimeo better because I think it's cleaner. Vimeo is paid. I don't have to worry about getting shut down. So I did mention some of the stuff. The other thing with Vimeo is that it's got all the features you need if you want to protect content. And this gets into how to monetize. So if you're wanting to monetize your video content, then you have to use Vimeo. You can't use YouTube. You can try using YouTube. You can make them private, but a private video has to be shared individually with anybody you want to give access to. And if you're trying to do some kind of a subscription thing, that model dies very quickly, because then you literally have to manually manage who's an active subscriber, remove people when they quit, add them manually when they sign up. It's brain dead. There's no way to use YouTube properly to monetize your content in a subscription model. Vimeo, on the other hand, gives me all kinds of options. I'll just go into this accounting for e-commerce purchase orders. This is the recent blog post I did. And I'll show you some of the settings real quick that kind of outline and underscore, where Vimeo gets so much more powerful than YouTube, especially when you're trying to keep your content private and monetize it. When I go into settings and then I go into privacy settings, what I can do, and this is what I do on all the subscription-based videos that I produce that are on nerdenterprises.com, all the 97 and up videos and all the ones that are available for 25 and up, I choose this option only on sites I choose, and I restrict the embed possibility to only nerdenterprises.com. That's the only domain on which one of my videos can be embedded. So even if a paid subscriber tries to grab the URL of my Vimeo video and embed it on their own site, it'll show up, and anybody goes to look at it, it's going to say this video is not authorized because of its privacy settings to be shown here. So you can restrict it, first of all, to specifically your domain, and you can add multiple domains there. I can choose more than one, right? So if for some reason I want it showing up in more than one domain, I can do that. And then the other ones is, the other choice is, do I want people to be able to download it? Free ones I don't allow people to download. 25 and up, I don't allow people to download. 97 and up, I do, because that to me is an added benefit for my 97 and up friends, is I want them to be able to have a local copy so they can do whatever they need to do whenever without having to worry about even having an internet connection. So that's a way that I kind of organize my content so that I have yet another piece of added value for my 97 and up subscribers. And yes, of course, I very much favor my 97 and up subscribers, because this is my intimate mastermind group, the people that I spend the most time with all week. Right, Adam and Greg?
I download all the time.
So, oh, you do. I'm glad to know that somebody's actually taking advantage of that.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. And Vimeo just in general has much better control over the settings compared with YouTube. Like going back to the basics, YouTube, I can upload a thumbnail, and I can do that here, but I can also choose a thumbnail by simply letting the video play through to whatever point it's at where I want that to be the thumbnail of the video, and then I stop it, and that's what I do. I play it for like 10 seconds till it gets to the title slide in the beginning of my video, and then I stop it there, and that becomes a thumbnail for the video. YouTube doesn't give you a choice like that. You either have to go with one of the 3 defaults that it chooses for you, or you can upload an image. But again, that takes a lot more time, because now I got to go find an image, render it nice and small, and upload it as a 150 by 150 thumbnail. This is so much easier. So, and I like to, I had this discussion with Hector a while back, and I don't know that he agreed with me. I almost got the sense he was a bit put off by my sentiments, but I said this, and I feel this is true, that I think Vimeo is the more professional network. YouTube, it's like open to anyone. So what do you get when you leave something open to anyone? You get a lot of trash, right? You get trolls who go on your videos and call you a fat F, right? But Vimeo is, because you have to pay for it, it just, the whole thing to me feels much more professional. And you'll see when you start getting into Vimeo and you look at some of the videos that are just on there, there are actually a lot of professional filmmakers putting content up here. So it really is like high quality content that you see on Vimeo. No, even though $200 a year to me is nothing, it's still, you charge anything like that and you're going to weed out any of the people who are just there to be crappy, right? And you're going to limit your, you know, so what you're going to get is a network of professionals who act professionally and who treat it, you know, with sort of respect, if you will. So, you know, that's kind of one of the quick answers to how to monetize. Is you use Vimeo because then you have the privacy protection features, so you can embed stuff in your website, and then you have to put a paywall and a subscription on your website, which for that I use WooCommerce for everything now. I played with a lot of different ones, a lot of different subscription. There's Wishlist and all these other subscription kind of plugins, and I found WooCommerce to be the best. It's just easy to use, easy to manage. We had so many problems before with the stuff we were using over at the other place. And here I use WooCommerce, and I have no issues. And I'm managing it all myself. I don't have any help, and it's not an issue. And actually, they keep improving it and making it better and better. So it's just really easy to use. So I can't strongly enough recommend using WooCommerce and Woo subscriptions to sort of manage your monetized content. And that's what I'm focused on when I talk about monetization. For mainly the reason I described earlier, YouTube disabled my monetization. In a way, I'm glad they did, because it forced me to stay focused on a much more valuable way to monetize content for me, which is to focus on building subscription models and having people come in and offering premium content for those who care to spend a little bit of money to absorb it. And it's not a lot of money. I mean, Greg, would you say you get your money's worth at $97 a month?
I get my money's worth at 3 times that.
Yeah. So, and I didn't pay him to say that.
Clearly, I paid you.
There you go. So, thank you for that, Greg. And anyway, I mean, that's it. I know we're kind of over time here, but if anybody has questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes to answer any questions. I'm looking at the live Facebook feed. Kathy says, great suggestion. 1 video per week is a realistic goal. Yeah, start there. If you're anything like me, you're going to get excited about it, and you're going to end up wanting to produce more. But 1 a week is a good start. It's a great starting point.
Excellent, actually.
Yep, because it's easy. You can do that. You can record 3 videos on a Saturday, and if you do that every Saturday for a while, you'll have so much like in the hopper so that it's easy to just, there's no pressure about the 1 a week, right? You'll have plenty of extra content ready to go to keep pace with that.
For me, it's about the actual recording and streamlining that process time, because
Right.
that, especially when you're starting out, I mean, like right now, for me, that's kind of time consuming.
Right.
Just getting that process of recording, getting that the content part of that video nailed down, and then trying to find ways to be more efficient and faster with it.
Yeah. And that's why I started doing the writing first, because I find that doing the writing first helps me be very efficient about the video. Because then what I'll do is I'll go into that Evernote note, and I don't know if you got to see it, but further down usually, and I don't always need to do it. Sometimes I'm just so clear. But if I'm not 100% clear, I just put some bullet points, and I call it my video notes. And I want to make sure this is the stuff I'm going to cover in my video. And so while I'm recording one screen, I have that up on my other screen, and that helps me make sure I stay on point. And keep in mind, and here's another tip for editing, when I do these things, if I have my bullet points, I can actually record it in segments based on that. You would never know it from the end user, you know, watching the video, but I can record 1 bullet point, and then I can pause recording or stop it and then do another recording in the same video and pause. Doing it that way, breaking it up into chunks, first of all, makes it easier and less overwhelming to produce. And secondly, gives me more of an opportunity to make certain decisions like, is this becoming too long of a video? Should I break this up into 2 videos, and maybe breaking it up into 2 pieces written, you know, as far as the written part goes? And that's a great way, if you find that you've written something long form, to make your content go much further, right? Because now, I can often and easily break up one piece into at least 2, sometimes more, by looking at it that way. And it gives your readers and viewers a reason to have to come back, because they get part 1 and they're like, oh, now I got to come back for part 2. When's that going to come out? Oh, he produces it every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Great. Now I know next Wednesday at 9 a.m. I'm going to go check back on his channel, right?
What would you say is the optimal length?
For the video content, you're going to find stats vary from one person to the next, but in mine I found that the view count drops off sharply right after about 3 to 3.5 minutes. And I still break that rule. I'm terrible about that. Most of my videos are still 10 to 15 minutes long because I don't feel like I'm covering a topic adequately. But the truth is, what the stats tell me is that I should be breaking it up. I should take a 15-minute video and at least break it up into 3 5-minute videos and make that go a longer way. And I would probably get more subscriptions and even better YouTube stats if I did that.
But it also depends on your sort of end game, because if you're trying to optimize it for Google and SEO, it actually wants content to be longer.
Yes and no. I mean, I've heard that YouTube is now favoring videos of 30 minutes length or longer. But again, the stats tell me different. The stats tell me that, people don't stick around for that much of a video. And maybe what you can go after if you're going to take that approach is not the numbers, but the much smaller group of people who really want what you're doing. And
you're not going to get as much viewers or subscribers. I mean, like if you want viewers and subscribers, the shorter the better. Yeah.
And so again, it's just a question of what kind of a strategy are you employing? Are you playing a numbers game, or are you just trying to get as many subscribers as you can, and assuming that from within that you'll get a smaller percentage of paying customers out of it? That's one strategy, is playing that numbers game. The other strategy is more of the Apple approach to things, which is we're going to go after a much smaller group, but a much more highly engaged one. And so we're going to create diehard fans out of people. In other words, I'd rather have 1,000 people who love me who would tell 1,000 more people, and that's how I get to my million, right? So again, there's different strategies and approaches. But going strictly by the stats, no matter what I'm doing, the view counts drop off sharply after about 3 minutes. That's what I found. So I wonder if I didn't discipline myself better to break it up into chunkier pieces of content. If maybe I couldn't get the best of both worlds, right? Maybe I get more people who are just interested in that. Who knows, right? Or maybe the larger number of people who would be attracted by that would attract still the smaller group of people who would be the diehard fans. I don't know. But again, if I'm just strictly going by statistics, that's what the statistics tell me, is that my videos should really never be more than about 3.5 minutes at the most. Larry says, yay for the 10 to 15-minute videos. And again, the other argument I have is that when you're doing content based on this, when you're doing this kind of content that's educational in nature, I've always said you can get away with more because people want to learn this stuff. It's not like I'm doing a video slamming some sales message down people's throats. I'm actually teaching people something that they really want to learn. But even then, and I was having this discussion yesterday with Michelle Crane, who's often here with us. She's part of our 97 and up group. And I said, one of the things that I still want to do, and I haven't had the time to build it yet, is to build a library of really short videos on very specific things. And it's meant to cater to those people who are out there working, trying to get through something, and they have one very specific thing that they need to learn. And so they just want a 60-second to 2-minute video that shows them just that one thing, so they can get in there quickly, learn how to, where's that setting? How do I turn on price rules in QuickBooks Online? They've got a 60-second video they can quickly watch and say, oh, perfect, that's where it is, and boom, they get right back to work. I think there's a lot of people who are desperately craving that kind of content. And so I have it in my plans to build a library like that. And I even know what tool I'm going to use to build it with, because it's not going to be on my website directly. It's going to be actually something that's going to be built and meant to drive traffic to my website, but I'm going to use a knowledge-based tool for it, kind of like a wiki. And so that will build traffic on its own and then drive traffic over to my site, because obviously people are going to say, oh, this is really helpful stuff. Who's doing it? Oh, look, it's Nerd Enterprises. Who else, right? So that's another area that I plan to tackle, when I have time. And so the more and more, and part of why I took the whole week off, it was last week actually, to produce content, was to prove myself, first of all, that I could do it, right? That was a big part of it, because I'd always wanted to do that, never did it before, and now I've proven I can do it. And so guess what? Now I have 2 other weeks in the future planned to do the very same thing again. Spread out. Now, I can't do it too often. I've got to stay focused and pay some attention to my clients. But again, I proved I could do it. And the goal eventually is to get to a place where, I'll have Erica substantially running our consulting side of things, so that I can focus almost exclusively on producing content and doing the things that bring in more business. So that's the plan. That's the strategy. I've gone way over. I appreciate all of everyone's time and attention. Kathy says, lately I record my Monday motivation videos just to keep me in the habit, but I know I need to schedule the time on my calendar to get to the next level. A great reminder of what I should be doing. Great. So yeah, just you should be scheduling and organized as to when you're producing content, and you should be scheduled and organized as to when you actually publish that content. And like I said earlier, just as a reminder, I love just recording a whole bunch of stuff and writing a whole bunch of stuff because I can easily edit on the fly and upload it, right? That part's easy to me. I can wake up early one morning and I can edit the video. If I am keeping the video short, then the editing takes less time too.
I don't edit. That's my thing, is like I just try to get a perfect thing.
Right. Well, when you're doing educational content, though, you really want to take the time to zoom in on things, and because it helps.
That's what I want to start doing, is doing like the highlighter on the cursor.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that's important. First of all, it also helps retain people's attention in the video. If they're, the movement gets people's attention. I've noticed it working on me when I watch somebody else's video. When I notice, because sometimes I can get distracted, but when I see the movement and the screen zooms in, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what am I missing there? And it sort of forces me to pay attention. But also it's really important in that it gives the viewers context for where exactly is that? What exactly is he clicking on, right? So that, to me, if that's the only thing you do that. Turning on the cursor highlight is easy. It's a quick setting and it's on for the whole thing. But zooming in and zooming out, and I've taught this when I've taught like how to edit videos, zooming in and zooming out is the one thing that all you really have to do is that, and you can have a really good video just doing that alone. You don't need anything fancy. But the zooming in and zooming out to me is critical to giving the user a really good experience with your video. So if you do...
on what video did you share the zoom in, zoom out?
Oh God, I don't know. Any webinars that I've done, when I've got the paid ones that are on my site for how to produce videos, those are the ones where I've gone over, like I've gone detailed into the editing. The ones
that's the paid one, the one for the subscription, right?
Yeah, the paid ones that I've done are where I've actually gone, because that's where I have the time to go into that kind of depth and I've shown people how to edit videos. And so anything you see of mine where I talk about how to edit videos, you'll see me talk about.
What's that series called again? What's the actual video series called again?
I don't remember, but if you search on my site for Camtasia.
Oh, I think it is called something with Camtasia, actually, now I think about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I just don't remember. It's been a while.
Okay.
Now, at one point, Seth, was that the group of stuff that you had, and we actually downloaded it from ShareFile? For the paid, the 5 for whatever it was?
No, the 5 for 5 was on how to use different project management tools. There's nothing in there about how to edit videos.
Oh, the Camtasia one was a separate one.
Yeah, the Camtasia one, and I've done, if you go...
But I didn't download.
If you go onto my site and go to, like, Buy Now on my website...
Show us real quick, Seth.
I feel like I'm holding people hostage. But, all right, so if you go on my site and you go to Webinars Recordings... before that, sorry, I'm going too fast. At the top navigation, you click Buy Now, and that takes you into like my whole catalog of paid content. And then on the left, you'll find Webinars Recordings. Intro to Video Marketing for Accounting Pros. For sure, this has it.
That's the one that you did with Hector?
No, this is one that I did before Hector.
Oh, okay.
And to be very honest, and I don't want to take anything away from what I did with Hector, but this one I was sort of slower and more focused because I wasn't dividing the time with somebody else. So I would recommend doing this one. Yeah, that's the one. I had, I think, another one that I just pulled off because I figured this one really kind of has what you need.
So everything essentially everything, intros, outros, all that stuff is in that intro to video marketing.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Again,
it's been a little while, so I'm hesitant to promise, but I definitely covered zooming in and zooming out because I almost always cover that to make the point that, that's all you really need to do to get a nice, professionally produced video. Learn how to record, edit, and produce a video. Learn Camtasia. Learn the following platforms, YouTube and Vimeo. Learn how to use videos to build an engaged audience. Remove the selling work. When people see your videos, they see what you can do. That question is gone. Not only a question is price, they come expecting to pay more because of your videos. So this is what I did with Hector. I take it back. This is the one I did with Hector.
Yeah.
I took down the other ones to sort of make way for these. So yeah, these ones I definitely did cover that. And then this is a long one because then Hector goes into all the equipment you can buy and play with.
But I think you have another series on like more focused on strictly Camtasia.
I did. I took it down. I'm going to put it back up.
Oh, you took it down.
I think
Got
I
it.
have it.
I took it down so as not to detract from this, but I'm going to put it back up because you're right. It's more focused on just using Camtasia and not all the, not all the other stuff. So.
Yeah, put it back, but then, it makes sense for you to put it around the video content area so that way we could, watch both.
Yeah, no, I'll put it up. I'll make sure it shows up in the same. Well, and that page, it sorts, but there's a drop down. You can decide how it's sorted because you can sort it by price or by title or whatever. Anyway, but I'll get that back up there so that people can get that. Because, yeah, there was one webinar that I did that was only Camtasia. It was like a 2-hour webinar, and I really dug into how to edit your content. And I didn't cover intros and outros specifically because that I have for free on my blog. If you search my blog for that, you'll find it.
Yeah, it was one that you had May 2018 is when I downloaded it.
Downloaded what?
That one, the Camtasia one, because I paid for that.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny. I don't even see it in my drafts now. I have to figure out what I did with it. I know at one point I had.
Oh, it says learn the new Camtasia webinar, Final Cut. That's what you had called it.
All right. So I have to find that and get that back up. I'm actually in the back end of my site now looking at my drafts, and I don't see it. And anyway, and of course, there's 2 other ways you can do this. One, you can join 97 and up and take advantage of the opportunity there to bring it up in our Tuesday and Thursday calls, and we can go over any of this stuff. And of course, there's one-on-one with me where I can, and I've done that. You know who's been great with that is Carmen Manrique had hired me to help her one-on-one, and I actually worked with her editing, and we edited and produced an entire video together. And I think she found that really, really helpful. And I was excited about that, especially because I had told her from day one, and obviously Mariette knows this, and now they're doing some work together with Vanessa because there's a desperate need for Spanish-based QuickBooks video content. And that's what I was encouraging Carmen to do. And now, Mariette, do you want to talk really quickly as long as we're here? And then I'm going to stop in 5 minutes.
Why?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to make another suggestion. Hi, guys. If you are a 97 up, you need to go ahead and pull out your friends on there. Adam has been awesome. He hunts me down. I hunt him down. Obviously, he and I are girls. So, you guys call each other out. I mean, that's the other thing, Seth. I hope you understand that with 97 up, you're really creating a close-knit community where we love to be one-on-one with you, but we know you got your stuff going, so we call up on each other as well. So just wanted to let you know that.
No, that's awesome. I know that there are a few people in particular in the group who have been great about reaching out to others in the group and really offering a lot of help, and that's been awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and then, just about the Spanish, just like Seth said, everyone in this group knows, we're very niche focused. We're really wanting to, go narrow versus broad and bring a lot of value. And so as he mentioned, that's really what Just Maestra is about, is really empowering the Latino community, because that is an untapped market and we want everyone to share in it. So, as we create content, if you want to be part of it, please reach out to us. And we want all of the experts and, the awesome peeps in our community to be part of it. So just let us know and we'll try to bring you in as much as we can. And, Seth is a great part of it because that's why both Carmen and I are 97 and up. We learned so much from you guys. So thank you for that.
Right. No, you're welcome. And so I'll go dig up that old video and put it back up there. I'll put it up for the same $250 price. When Hector and I did those webinars, we wanted to create like a mastermind, like video content creation program, but not a lot of people showed interest. So we kind of pulled that. And so, again, what I'll offer now is that if you join 97 and up, you can take advantage of the resources that I offer that way. And, so you can get with us in Slack, and then you can come on any Tuesday or Thursday call and say, hey, show me how to edit this video. And I'll invite you to share your screen, and because everybody's going to learn from that anyway. So
I have a real quick question about, and I send that before you end. So, and I always get confused by this, and I probably annoy you because I ask you all the time. So are there some things you do that are not part of 97 Up and some things that you do that are in regards to the videos we can watch? That kind of confuses me.
No, 97 and Up, the point is it includes all the videos content.
So everything you have on your site we can get.
Anything that's under a subscription paywall is accessible by 97 and up people. The only what?
Yeah. I was going to say, except for those ones that you do like with Hector and
Well, yeah, if I do something with somebody else because I'm sharing revenue with them, I can't really, I can't compel them to share revenue with my group. But those have been very few and far between. I think it's just a couple that I did with Hector. And then the only other exception is I have, what do you call it? Like all the templates, all the webinars are included in 97 and up. The only exception is my my Amazon settlement template, which is like a $200 template that I spent ridiculous amount of time producing. So that's the only thing that's so far not included. So 97 and up includes all the access to all the video content. 25 and up is the one that's restricted. 25 and up includes everything except what says 97 and up. Right? So if you sign up for the $25 a month subscription, you have access to basically all the courses, except there's now actually 3 that say, right in the title, it indicates 97 and up. So those are the ones you do not have access to on the $25 subscription. And you also don't have access to the webinars. Like 97 and up, I give you a coupon code. Any webinars that I have in my shopping cart are free, included in your $97 monthly subscription. So,
Okay.
and if you're watching this and you're going to sign up and you see it's going to be $197, just use the coupon code 97insider, and that will get it back to the normal $97 per month, and that fee will remain that way permanently as long as you stay in. As long as you stay in, your monthly subscription will remain at $97 a month.
Worth it. So worth it. Thank you, Seth. Thank you for that. So amazing.
You got it. Thank you. And I will leave you all to it. Sarah Layla says, I don't mind being held hostage, except I'm hungry. Well, very good. Well, go eat. I need to go eat, and I need to go take a break because then we're recording podcasts today. We got some really, really cool guests coming up on our Authentic Accountant podcast. So if you haven't already, go check out the ones we've already produced.
And it's on Google Play now, right, Seth?
Google Play and iTunes and Stitcher and a whole bunch of other ones. If you go to the Voice America page, on the right-hand side, there's a list of links. Maybe next week I'll spend time doing a tour of the whole Voice America thing. I've been meaning to do a video on that anyway, so I'll probably just produce that video besides. But we'll take a look. And then what did we say we're going to do next week? We're going to talk about notebooks and what do you use to take notes. That'll be a fun topic, I think, to cover next week. So, Tiffany, you got to come back with your moleskin and be prepared to show us how you use it.
All right.
All right, we'll see you all next week. And we'll see you all at Gina's Hangout later today and everywhere else on the web.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.